Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, tears streaming down your face, wondering why you're not enough? I did that every single night for 3 years. Every night I'd look at my phone, waiting for someone to text back, wondering why they didn't want me as much as I wanted them. The pain felt like a heavy stone sitting on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I kept giving pieces of myself away, hoping that if I gave enough, someone would finally stay. I remember the night everything changed. It was 3 a.m. and I was sitting on my bathroom floor, surrounded by tissues, my phone clutched in my hand, waiting for a response that would never come. That's when I saw something I'd never noticed before. While I was busy chasing after people who didn't want me, I had completely lost sight of myself. The person in the mirror had become a stranger, someone who lived only for others' approval, someone who had forgotten how to smile for themselves. You see, we're all doing this dance, this exhausting dance of trying to prove we're worthy of love. We chase after people who give us breadcrumbs, thinking if we could just be a little prettier, a little smarter, a little more successful, then maybe they'd stay. We pour our hearts into people who see us as options, not priorities. We stay in relationships that drain our souls, convinced that having someone, anyone, is better than being alone. Let me tell you something that might hurt at first, but I promise it's going to set you free. Every time you chase someone who doesn't want you, you're telling yourself a lie. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you're signing a contract with misery. Every time you put someone else's happiness before your own peace, you're not being noble, you're being cruel to yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you put yourself first? When was the last time you said no to something that didn't serve you? When was the last time you chose your own peace over someone else's comfort? If you're struggling to answer these questions, you're not alone. But here's the thing. If you keep putting others first, if you keep chasing people who don't want to be caught, if you keep settling for crumbs when you deserve the whole feast, you're not just hurting yourself today. You're programming yourself to believe that this is all you deserve. The cost of not loving yourself isn't just emotional. It seeps into every area of your life. It affects how you perform at work, how you take care of your health, what kind of friends you attract, and even how you parent your children. When you don't love yourself, you teach everyone around you how to treat you. And trust me, they're taking notes. Here's something that changed my life, and I hope it changes yours too. The way you treat yourself is teaching the world how to treat you. It's like there's this invisible sign above your head, showing everyone exactly what you think you deserve. When you chase after people who don't want you, you're telling the world, I'm not enough by myself. I need someone else to complete me. When you stay in situations that hurt you, you're announcing, this is what I think I deserve. But it goes even deeper than that. Have you noticed how some people seem to attract the same type of toxic relationships over and over? It's not bad luck. It's not a coincidence. It's because they haven't learned to love themselves first. Think of self-love like a bouncer at an exclusive club. When you truly love yourself, that bouncer gets very picky about who gets to come into your life. It starts saying no to the smooth talkers who only show up at 2 a.m. It turns away the people who only want you when they're lonely. It blocks the ones who want to use you as their backup plan. Love isn't meant to be a chase. It's not supposed to feel like you're constantly auditioning for someone's affection. Real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that heals, rather than hurts, starts with how you treat yourself. When you learn to love yourself, you start to recognize real love when it comes your way. You stop mistaking intensity for intimacy. You stop confusing drama with passion. Most importantly, you stop accepting less than what you know you deserve. This might sound simple, but I need you to really let this sink in. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you're constantly criticizing yourself, you'll attract people who criticize you. If you don't respect your own boundaries, you'll attract people who cross them. If you don't believe you deserve happiness, you'll find ways to sabotage it when it comes your way. The truth is, loving yourself isn't just about feeling good. It's not about taking bubble baths or buying yourself presents. Real self-love is about making tough decisions. It's about walking away from people and situations that hurt you, even when walking away feels like ripping off a piece of your own heart. It's about choosing yourself, even when that choice feels lonely. It's about building a life you don't need to escape from. I spent years thinking that love was about proving myself worthy to others. I thought if I could just show them how much I could give, how patient I could be, how understanding and forgiving I was, then maybe they would finally see my worth. But here's what I learned. Your worth isn't something you need to prove to anyone. It's not something that increases or decreases based on who stays or who leaves. Your worth is constant, unchanging, and inherent to who you are. The most powerful moment in your life will be when you finally understand that you don't need anyone's permission to love yourself. You don't need anyone's validation to know your worth. And most importantly, you don't need to wait for someone else to choose you. You can choose yourself right now, today, in this moment. When you truly start to love yourself, something magical happens. The people who used to make you feel not good enough suddenly lose their power over you. The relationships that used to drain you start to fade away naturally. The need to prove yourself to others disappears. Instead of chasing love, you start attracting it. Instead of begging for respect, you start commanding it. Instead of fearing loneliness, you start enjoying your own company. Think about how much energy you've spent trying to make the wrong people stay. Think about how many tears you've cried over people who wouldn't cry for you. Think about how many times you've dimmed your light because someone else couldn't handle your shine. Now imagine taking all that energy and redirecting it toward loving yourself. Imagine taking all that care, all that patience, all that understanding you've been giving to others and giving it to yourself instead. Let's talk about something that might feel uncomfortable at first, the ways we hurt ourselves without even realizing it. You know those moments when you check your phone 100 times, hoping they've texted back? Or when you make yourself available 24/7 for someone who only gives you their leftover time? These aren't just habits, they're patterns of self-sabotage, and they're keeping you stuck in a cycle of pain. I want you to think about your last relationship or situationship. How many times did you ignore your gut feeling? How often did you make excuses for their behavior? Maybe they told you they weren't ready for a relationship, but you stayed anyway, hoping they'd change their mind. Maybe they only called you late at night, but you answered every time, telling yourself that some attention is better than none. Maybe they kept you as an option while openly pursuing others, but you convinced yourself that if you just proved your loyalty, they'd choose you in the end. These patterns show up in different ways for different people. For some, it's always being the one who texts first. For others, it's accepting breadcrumbs of affection and calling it a feast. Maybe you're the one who's always available, always understanding, always willing to give another chance. Or perhaps you're the one who stays in toxic friendships because you're afraid of being alone. These patterns might feel like love, but they're actually fear wearing a love costume. Here's what's really happening when we fall into these patterns. We're trying to control the uncontrollable. We think that if we just love hard enough, wait long enough, or try hard enough, we can make someone choose us. But love doesn't work that way. Real love doesn't require convincing. It doesn't need constant proof. It doesn't leave you feeling anxious, drained, or unsure. Now let's dive into something that might change everything for you. Accepting yourself exactly as you are right now. Not when you lose 20 pounds, not when you get that promotion, not when someone finally chooses you. Right now, in this moment, with all your imperfections, all your mistakes, all your baggage. I know what you're thinking, but I've made so many mistakes. I've stayed too long in bad situations. I've let people treat me badly. I've ignored red flags. How can I accept that? Here's the truth. Accepting yourself doesn't mean you approve of everything you've done. It means you understand that your worth isn't determined by your past choices. It means you know that making mistakes doesn't make you a mistake. Think about how you treat a close friend when they mess up. You don't tell them they're worthless. You don't remind them of every mistake they've ever made. You show them compassion. You remind them that everyone makes mistakes. You help them learn from the experience and move forward. Now, why is it so hard to show yourself that same kindness? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards while easily forgiving others? Self-acceptance starts with small moments of honesty. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I may not be perfect, but I'm perfectly me. It's acknowledging your feelings without judging them. It's allowing yourself to be human, to make mistakes, to learn and grow. Most importantly, it's understanding that you don't need to earn the right to love yourself. This might be the hardest part of our journey together, but it's also the most liberating, learning to let go. Letting go of people who don't see your worth. Letting go of situations that drain your energy. Letting go of the need to control everything. Letting go of who you thought you needed to be loved. Why is letting go so hard? Because we've been taught that holding on is a sign of strength. We've been told that if we just try hard enough, wait long enough, or love deeply enough, everything will work out. But here's what they didn't tell us. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is open your hands and let something go. Think about all the things you're holding on to right now. Maybe it's a relationship that ended, but you keep hoping they'll come back. Maybe it's a friendship that's turned toxic, but you keep it because of history. Maybe it's old pain, old betrayals, old disappointments that you carry like heavy stones in your heart. What if I told you that holding on to these things isn't protecting you? It's preventing you from receiving what you actually deserve. Letting go isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It's choosing yourself over and over again. It's deleting that number you know you shouldn't call. It's not checking their social media for the 100th time. It's saying no to invitations that come from a place of loneliness, rather than genuine connection. It's allowing yourself to feel the pain of loss without trying to numb it or run from it. When you truly let go, you make space for something better. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you clear out what's not serving you, You create room for what's meant for you. But here's the catch. You have to actually let go, not pretend to let go while secretly hoping they'll come back, not let go with conditions, not let go while keeping one foot in the door. Real letting go means accepting that this chapter is over and trusting that a better one is coming. Remember this: letting go doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you didn't try hard enough. It doesn't mean you weren't enough. Sometimes letting go is simply recognizing that something isn't meant for you, no matter how much you want it to be. And that recognition isn't failure. It's growth. It's wisdom. It's self-love in action. Let's talk about something that changes everything: boundaries. Not those rigid walls that keep everyone out, but healthy limits that keep you safe and sane. Think of boundaries like the fence around a beautiful garden. They don't just keep the bad stuff out, they protect what's precious inside. Your peace, your joy, your self-respect. These are your flowers, and they need protection. I used to think setting boundaries meant being mean. I'd say yes when I wanted to say no. I'd stay quiet when something hurt me. I'd let people cross my lines because I was afraid of losing them. Sound familiar? But here's what I learned. Boundaries aren't mean. They're honest. They're not selfish. They're necessary. Every time you say, "This isn't okay with me," you're telling yourself, "I matter." Your time matters. Your feelings matter. Your energy matters. When someone consistently shows up late, they're not just wasting minutes. They're showing you how much they value your time. When someone only calls when they need something, they're not just being forgetful. They're showing you where you rank in their priorities. When someone ignores your no, they're not just being persistent. They're showing you how much they respect your choices. Start small. Maybe it's saying, "I need time to think about that," instead of immediately saying yes. Maybe it's turning your phone off after 9 p.m. Maybe it's telling someone, "When you do this, it hurts me." Watch how people react to your boundaries. Some will respect them immediately. These are your people. Others will test them, push against them, try to make you feel bad for having them. These reactions tell you everything you need to know about who deserves a place in your life. Now we're getting to the good part, watching yourself grow. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about turning your pain into power, your lessons into wisdom, your experiences into strength. Every time you choose yourself, you grow stronger. Every time you walk away from what hurts you, you grow wiser. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you grow more powerful. Remember how you used to be? How you'd apologize for your feelings. How you'd make yourself smaller to make others comfortable. How you'd doubt your own instincts. That person was doing their best with what they knew. But now you know better, and when you know better, you do better. You're not just healing, you're evolving. Growth isn't always pretty. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car. Sometimes it looks like blocking a number you memorized by heart. Sometimes it looks like sitting with uncomfortable feelings instead of running back to what hurt you. But every time you choose growth over comfort, you're building a stronger version of yourself. Start celebrating your small wins. Did you go a whole day without checking their social media? That's growth. Did you tell someone how their actions made you feel? That's growth. Did you spend an evening alone and actually enjoy it? That's massive growth. These moments might seem small, but they're actually huge steps toward becoming who you're meant to be. Let's get practical about this journey. This isn't just about feeling inspired, it's about making real changes in your life. Today, right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll start treating yourself with the same kindness you show others. Promise that you'll stop accepting less than you deserve. Promise that you'll make your peace a priority. Start with your morning routine. Before you check your phone, before you think about anyone else, take 5 minutes for yourself. Look in the mirror and say one kind thing to yourself. It might feel weird at first. Do it anyway. Your brain believes what you tell it consistently. Feed it words of love instead of criticism. Throughout your day, start noticing your patterns. Notice when you abandon yourself to please others. Notice when you say yes when you want to say no. Notice when you make excuses for someone's bad behavior. Don't judge these moments. Just notice them. Awareness is the first step to change. By the end of your first week, I want you to have said no to at least one thing that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's a late-night text from someone who only wants your attention, not your heart. Maybe it's a social obligation that drains you. Maybe it's an old habit that keeps you stuck in past patterns. As we wrap up this journey together, remember this. Loving yourself isn't a destination, it's a daily choice. It's choosing yourself over and over again, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when others don't understand. You're not just healing your present, you're changing your future. Think about where you are right now. Think about all the times you've given your power away, all the times you've settled for less, all the times you've dimmed your light for others. Now imagine a future where you're no longer afraid to shine. Imagine a life where you're no longer waiting for someone else's permission to be happy. That future starts today with your next choice. You might be wondering if you're ready for this change. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't have read this far if you weren't ready. The fact that these words resonate with you means you're already on your way. The fact that your heart beats faster at the thought of choosing yourself means you're ready to begin. Remember, the person who hasn't valued you enough is watching someone else live the life you were meant to live. The person who couldn't make up their mind about you is missing out on the magnificent force you're becoming. The person who took you for granted is about to learn what it means to lose someone who would have moved mountains for them. Your story doesn't end with who didn't choose you. It doesn't end with the heart that was broken or the time that was wasted. Your story continues with how you chose yourself, how you rebuilt yourself, how you learned to love yourself so deeply that you never again accepted anything less than what you deserved. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your life. Love yourself first and watch how everything else falls into place. The journey of self-love isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And remember, you're not walking this path alone. Every person who has ever chosen themselves, who has ever walked away from what hurt them, who has ever decided they deserved better, they're walking with you. Their strength is your strength. Their courage is your courage. Now go forth and love yourself fiercely, unapologetically, and completely. The rest will follow.